That there was, like, it's not as bad as you think usually. I mean, I feel like you say that all the time. It's kind of cliche, but I felt like, we were a lot closer than it felt like afterward. Just some big runs that could have made you feel a lot different. But all in all, yeah, there's a lot of room for improvement. It was our first game. A lot of operational things we can get better at, but overall, I liked our focus coming out, the way we started, kind of our mindset and all that. So I like how we finished the half with a 2-minute drive. We just got to be better on third down and better in the red zone with get touchdowns.
No injuries are kind of forcing your hand, but how do you feel about your running back rotation?
I feel, it's really unfortunate what happened. Both those guys have been playing very well. Ramon, I tell you what, like the run he had was why I love him. It was a 14-yard run on the first run he had, or 12-yard run, something like that. Just the way he was on the combination, hit it. But I have yet to be anywhere where I have gotten through a season without having back injuries. It's just the nature of the position, the physicality, what we ask guys to do. You got to be ready for it. Next man up. And the cool thing is we built a deep room for this reason. Recruiting-wise, what they've done here in the past, bringing in an extra guy, and I think we can sustain it, and we're going to just move forward and next man up. And I'm excited about those guys. They're playing good.
When you're shuffling the deck kind of on the offensive line and moving guys around, how difficult is it to get continuity within 3 or 4 days?
It's very difficult. I mean, they have to play better, but it wasn't nearly as bad probably as it maybe felt in some areas, and I'm not going to ever single a play or players or anything out in that way, but we can improve their little things. I could help them with scheme. I could help them with ways in which we handle some stuff. So yeah, it's a combination of things, but the fact that those guys that we rotated guys through, we had Horsey playing in the guard, we did some different things to figure out some stuff, and I think they'll all get better. I look at it like those 5 never played together all of fall camp, and we had guys in and out all fall camp, and all of them. And to finally get them together, now we know we're just going to ascend as a group. There's a lot to get better at, but we can get better, and we can play harder and more physical, and we're going to get it done.
Are there things that Will can do to help him as well? Other than like the calls, but are there things he can do?
Yeah, he did a pretty good job of getting rid of the ball. There's a couple of sacks I wish he'd go down a little easier with and not twist and turn. But, it's funny is, we want to keep him clean. But we dropped back probably more than I probably should have. But I think I told you guys I felt like that was the best way to kind of expose what they do and try and get our playmakers in position. And that led to some things. But Will did a nice job. It reminded me of watching guys in the NFL. Guys are in his face and he's making throws and doing the stuff that only the great ones can do. And the no flinch and his ability to do that, we got to keep him upright, we got to keep him healthy. But as long as he'll stand in there and move in the pocket the way he's done, I think the rest of it will come and we're going to get better and better.
How much did the youth on the left side of that line contribute to that versus getting Kenneth Horsey in there? Is that stabilizing?
Yeah, it's a combination of things. You got to, a left tackle, one of the harder positions to play in his first college start. You got a young guard. You got him going in and out with Horsey playing a little, trying to find his legs, and then all of it contributed to some things. And then they're really good at their stunts, and we weren't really good at getting it done. And it just we worked on it, and you can never simulate in practice the speed that it is in a game, and it'll slow down in time, and those guys will get better at it. But yeah, we're going to see it the rest of the year. I imagine if you put it on tape, it's going to keep on coming.
When you're running,
simulate the noise here in practice when you can, but with so many young guys, in particular, going into their first road game, how do you prepare them for the communication stuff they're going to face?
I think we spent some time in fall camp, and even in the summertime preparing for some of this stuff. We knew that this was an early game and it would be a crazy environment, and so college football, you can get away with stuff in college you can't in the NFL, the claps and all the things you can do, so it's less of an issue, that's what makes it fun, and I'm excited for these guys. Like, this is what it's all about, and I think they'll handle it well, but nothing like 65,000 people screaming or how many they get, and seeing what you're made of if you can stay in the moment and execute. And I think we'll do a good job.
When you're wide in the running back room, do you have to ask Will to do more?
I don't want to get too much into scheme and all that stuff, but yeah, I mean, obviously, it's a fine line. Will is, he's an athletic quarterback. I mean, honestly, the guy could run for 1,000 yards if we wanted him to. But I don't want to break the man. He's too valuable. He's a pro-style quarterback, and he can do a lot of things. So we're going to be gentle with him, and that's just not my background and what I want to do with a guy like Will. So, he can help us get us in the right plays, and then we can do a better job scheming up our play actions and things to soften them up. But yeah, we'll be okay. I think the run game in this system, it takes a little time to gel regardless of the turnover we've had. So the more they do it, the easier it gets. The more they practice, they see how we game plan. I mean, literally, a couple of them were receiver blocks, where, Dane, and not to put Dane went into on the first toss crack play, and he went in to kill the guy rather than just fit him up. If he fits him up, it's probably a touchdown, and instead it's a 12-yard run. The guy beats him over the top because he's all excited. Those are things they'll learn, they'll settle down, and we'll be fine.
What do you see on the Florida tape? What jumps out at you with this defense?
Good football team. They got a playmaker at each level. That's always something that is something you have to deal with. I think they have an NFL safety that's a good football player. I can tell he's very smart. He's physical. I think he played every snap for him in the game last game, and he's a really good player. We got to know where he is at. I think that linebackers they run really well and they're good in space. That's always a challenge. And then they got a couple of pass rushers that are real SEC guys that are NFL type players, and we have to deal with that. So it'll be a challenge. They're a good football team.
Lavelle, we saw some nice things out of him towards the end of the game. Mark said a couple weeks ago he'd been dealing with some nagging injuries. Is he fully ready to go? Or are you ready for his load to exceed?
I think that I always say, I told these guys afterwards, the tape will always speak for itself. Every one of these guys was playing the NFL. Every scout, every GM, everyone watches it, man. The tape never lies. And if you strain, how hard you play, what you're about. And I think Lavelle, what he put on tape, what he's about. He's ready to roll.
But you had 10 guys on your offense starting the game that would never played those positions before. Mm-hmm. You kind of alluded to that. They kind of got to learn a different kind of chaos now going on the road. How confident are you that you can work out the communications issues and the week 1 to week 2 stuff?
Yeah, I'll say that you never know until you're in there and the bullets are flying. But it's like the opener. You asked me about the freshmen, their first start, and I thought the first drive wasn't too big for them. They went down, they made plays. You show, Dane, they first drive, they all made plays, and so I feel like they'll just get better the more they play, how we teach, they understand things, and the next step is dealing with hostile environments that you have to deal with in this conference. And if you're great teams win on the road. Bottom line, and you have to have the mindset. You got to take care of the football. You can't let it rattle you, and you got to be bigger than it. And if we do that, I think we'll have some success. But it's not going to be easy, and it'll be a challenge. And they're good, really good, fast football team.
How was Saturday for you at home place?
It was awesome. I'll tell you, it was probably exceeded my expectations, and it wasn't even really the big SEC game. It was just one of those opening games, and I just love the environment, the walk, all of it. It's just there are some things about college football that, and especially in the SEC, that you can truly appreciate when you're a part of it, and it's different than the NFL. And honestly, it gave me chills, some of it. So I was very, very, very happy to be a part of it, and I was glad we came out on top. And on to the next week. But it really was enjoyable to be a part of this whole deal.
Did you find your phone?
Yeah, no kidding, man. It's funny the things you don't think about as a coach. So halftime, our locker room's in here, and then we're in there, and so where the coaches put their stuff, and I put my stuff where everyone told me to put it, and then I realized it was the media room, and I came in there after the game, and none of my stuff was there. But Again, I'm learning too.
All right, we got the